Adam Schefter is reporting that an MRI has revealed more damage than anticipated for Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. He tore his ACL, MCL, and suffered other structural issues in his knee as well, per at Ben_baby and me. So Ben Baby and Adam Schefter are breaking the news. We don't mean to laugh, but I did not know Ben Baby was in the Insider game. Shout out to him. That's a massive injury. Couple quick thoughts here before we get to AJ Hawk's thoughts. His face going off the field, I don't think he was crying. I don't think he was anything beat up. Is Joe Burrow the toughest son of a bitch maybe to ever walk, right? Because just a few weeks ago, his head almost got dislodged from his body during a hit with the Philadelphia Eagles, if you do recall. Came back in the game, led them to a tie, but still came back in and played the game when everybody. He takes massive shots. He tore his ACL, MCL, and had structural issues, which probably means bones of some sort happened, and he just ate that. Guys, tough. This sucks. This is a very sad day for the NFL, for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they should have protected him a lot more. This was almost like, I don't want to say obvious that this was something like this was potentially going to happen. We can't wait to see him back. Let's hope when he comes back, he doesn't get beat up as much as a quarterback in the NFL.
I mean, yeah, it's awful. And I think he's going to be fine. And I know you talk about rehab and how tough it is. Yeah, it's brutal. It's going to be a brutal first 6 months probably, and it's going to be tough because he wants to get back out there with his guys. I just wonder, does he stay in the protocol? Does he do everything at the stadium, or is he going to be removed? Like, I'm sure he doesn't even know that yet, but that's another interesting situation when it comes to COVID.
We talked to Taylor Lewan. Taylor Lewan opted out of staying in the protocol, and he's getting his rehab at a place which I would assume has a very tight relationship with the Titans. Like, the doctors have to know each other rather well. I don't think that's something that is just okayed everywhere. But I would, if Joe Burrow has to stay in that protocol, yeah, that's been a rough first year. But hey, gotta earn your stripes.
Let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I agree.
Come on.
That's a bad injury. What's up, Diggs?
I'm seeing a tweet here that it's a multi-ligament injury, just like Carson Wentz had a couple years ago, and he got hurt on December 10th. So 2 weeks later, and he missed the first 2 games of the season. So
yeah, I remember that. I remember whenever that happened. That's sad, man. He was balling. He took some massive shots, though, dude. Like, people were. What's that?
Minute before. 2 minutes before he did that, he took a massive shot, an unbelievable play by Chase Young, his old buddy. Like, that shot alone would have put most guys out, I think.
People were just running through some. I mean, the internet now, because we talked about this in the first hour, I believe, and basically said, like, at some point, an adult in the room had to be like, we should run the ball maybe, or do something. Like, somebody, an adult in the room should have said, this dude has the most head shots, body shots, and leg shots as a quarterback in the NFL. This guy has now the most pass attempts in the NFL. At some point, I think somebody should have tried to protect Joe Burrow from himself, but people tried to do that, I guess, with luck. Sometimes that's just how guys play or whatever, but it felt like the Bengals really mismanaged this entire thing, and we're almost trying to get him killed. After the writing was on the wall the first couple of weeks, that he's going to take some it's a bummer all the way around. It's an absolute bummer. It's like, who will be his head coach next year? Will it still be Zach? I guess that's obvious, everybody saying.
Probably. You would think it'd still be Zach Taylor, I guess. I mean, who really knows what they're thinking? But if you're Zach Taylor, though, that's kind of a tough position to be put in. Like, okay, I got to find a way to win games. I got to find a way to hold on to my job. Yeah, I can see this young guy who's going to be a stud is taking way too many shots. But how do I still got to find that fine balance, though, of still trying to attack, still trying to push the ball down the field. You can't have everything be super quick, 3-step drop game, like everything quick game. But I guess the only thing you can try to do is try to limit the amount Joe gets outside the pocket and takes unnecessary risks.
I think you could quick game it, couldn't you? I mean, it felt like
for a little bit. I mean, that's not going to work all game, most likely.
Works for a lot of people, right? Isn't that kind of what Peyton did? It's what Drew does. I mean, it's
Peyton could still push it down the field to Marvin Harrison, that's for sure.
Yeah, they were awesome, but that was a lot of timing routes because he was throwing it so quickly, and those balls were coming out so early in those routes. You look at some of those old highlights of Peyton throwing to people, and Ben Roethlisberger had one this weekend to Johnson, by the way, who's a hell of a player. Deontay Johnson is a hell of a player for them. He had some real bursts. He was looking straight down the field still, and Ben was in the back throwing it, and the ball was already out of his hands. And then as soon as Deontay cut, he had to lay out for it, and the ball was there. It was like that type of shit is so much work behind the scenes. Like, people have that is so much work.
Trust.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So much trust between the quarterback and the receiver. That's the number one thing right there.
And that's what Peyton lived off of. That's why those off-season reps and everything were so. Him and Austin Coley, I mean, that was such a quick turnaround, and everybody was like, "Oh, Austin and Peyton have great chemistry here early." It was like, well, also Austin ran probably 700 routes a day, like to get all those things, you know. Austin was living in the ice tub because he was running so many routes to get on the same page, because that's all reps and everything like that. I think Joe Burrow could be that type of quarterback. Couldn't he get it out quicker? Now, granted, you can still use him for the extending play weapon that he is, you know. Like, that was something that was a big part of his game. But I feel like him, Herbert, these guys who have been incredibly intelligent quarterbacks while being young and being able to figure things out, I feel like he could get to that somehow. It's just whether or not do you have the pieces for it and everything like that, I guess.
They kind of do, though. You could block with 7, and you got to assume that A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd, or T. Higgins, at least one of them is going to get open.
Somebody will be able to get open.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are we the coaches of the Bengals now?
I think so.
I think that's, people are wondering at this point.
Sounds pretty simple sitting here in our chairs talking into microphones, like how to scheme up a defense.
Hey, we are available for consulting, by the way.
Absolutely.